Hello and welcome to another edition of Ephlux Insights. My name is Babar Khan. I'm the entrepreneur in residence for this initiative. I'm joined by Mr. Hugh Burkitt, and we are going to be talking about the Marketing Society and the objectives and its main purpose in the world. As you know, I was recently published in Work Market Leader, which is co-produced by Work and the Marketing Society. So Hugh is the most relevant guest I could reach out to, and it's an honor to talk to him. So, Hugh, welcome to the program.
Hello, very nice to be here, Baba.
So we're just going to jump directly into the questions, and you can just right. We're just going to jump directly into the questions. So, Hugh, why don't you tell me about the origins of the Marketing Society?
Okay. Well, the Marketing Society started in 1959, so we're 55 years old this year. We've got around 2,600 members, mainly in the UK, very strong branch in Scotland, but we have about 100 members outside the UK, and we're planning to increase that quite dramatically, actually, over the next few years. And we just, as I speak, announced the start of a new branch of the Marketing Society in Hong Kong.
Wow, that's brilliant. And so what exactly does the Marketing Society, what was it formed for, and what is the main purpose of the society? Like, what drives the society?
Okay, well, the society was formed, let's say, 55 years ago to be in the UK a forum for senior marketers to share ideas and exchange best practice, because marketing always, at all times, is changing very fast, and best practice and the best way to do things and what is best in marketing and what works best is changing all the time. So you can't just, if you like, go to university and study marketing and say, well, that's it, now I know what there is to know and I'll go away and I'll practice it for the rest of my life. Marketing is ever changing, and so what we like to think we do is to help top marketers keep up with what is the very best in the market.
All right, so it's learning beyond learning. And you have this concept of being a member of the society and being a member of, for example, Work has a similar concept that's running where they impart case studies and reports and all that. What differentiates you from something like Work?
Well, actually, we work in partnership with Walk, as you say. Actually, when you mention Market Leader, we like to think it's our publication, which they publish, is how we see it. It is in fact sponsored and owned, if you like, by the Marketing Society, and it's a publication we set up with them some time ago. But obviously, we have a very constructive partnership with Walk. Very often, a lot of the case histories which they're using come from us, of course, because a critical part of what we do every year is we have we think it's a very fine marketing award scheme, the Marketing Society Awards for Excellence, and last year we had over 200 entries to those awards, which is a lot, because they're very serious case histories. They're not just, you don't just put in a pretty picture of an ad or something. You've got to put in a very serious case history about what you've done and what it's achieved. But we had 200 of those in the UK, and then we awarded around 20 prizes out of those for the very best stories. But those marketing case histories are a very valuable resource, and so again we've published books of those case histories for our members. They're available online in what we like to call our online clubhouse, and they're very thoroughly researched. So that's an important part of what we do every year is those awards, which produces those case histories.
All right, so the case studies are for successful campaigns, product launches, or is it just brands, or
Indeed,
is it just
yeah.
companies?
They're all around brands or companies. That's what the case history is about. They're often actually written in conjunction with that company's advertising agency. In fact, about 75% of the winning entries come with an advertising agency having contributed to the writing of the history. But clearly, it's a partnership. And those case histories, cover a very wide variety of classic, marketing skills. So, most obviously, each prize. There's a prize every year for best new brand launch. There's a prize for the best revitalization of a brand, what's perhaps been in a bit of trouble and has come back into success again. There's a prize for the best use of consumer research, and then of course we get into all sorts of digital categories where we look at prize for the best use of brand content and the best use of social media and so on, and these sorts of areas. But we do it very much not by different industry. We don't have a prize, as it were, in alcoholic drinks and another prize in detergent. We do it very much by marketing skills. So if you win one of our prizes, you've demonstrated real marketing skill across the whole, across the whole possible range of industries.
All right. So it covers more than what the traditional mindset would be. When I see the work page, or when I see the Marketing Society page, even to a certain extent, well, not market leader, it seems like it's more about the promotion and the packaging P, as opposed to the pricing and the place P. That's generally where the question came from.
Maybe, but of course it's sometimes it's easier to write about packaging and promotion and communication generally, because that's the more fun, if you like, part of marketing. But we take every aspect of marketing obviously very seriously, and we've also written in the Society a so-called manifesto for marketing. So we very clearly set out what we think is the best marketing. Certainly here in the UK, and we think it's a model for, potentially for the rest of the world as well, which sets a marketer 9 challenges, actually. We say that if you want to be a bolder marketing leader, and that's what we say for all our members, that we want our members to be bold marketing leaders. But if you want to be a bold marketing leader, here are 9 challenges which we set you, that are things you must really do fundamentally about your business if you're going to be an outstanding marketing leader. But I won't give through all those 9 now, but you can, if you want to find out, anybody wants to find out more about our manifesto, they can very happy to get in touch, and I can talk more about it. But it really breaks down into 3 different areas, where we talk about defining your purpose as a whole organization, and purpose these days is not, if you like, it's not just about making money. It's what about your whole contribution to society and the legacy you want to leave with your brand as well. So purpose is a key area. Championing the consumer is a key area, and how you relate to the consumer and how you make sure your every aspect of your brand and product or service is excellent. And then the third area relates to how you behave within the organization, because we naturally believe that marketing should always lead any organization, and so we talk about mobilizing your organization as the third area for our marketing manifesto. So those are the 3 pillars of it. Those are the things we say people should get involved with. But it's very important to us that marketing is much more fundamental than just advertising. Marketing is about having a great product or a great service, getting the pricing right, producing, in fact, something which consumers want to pay for and are prepared to pay a good sum of money for, which in turn is profitable. So marketing is very much a commercial activity as far as we're concerned.
All right, that's perfect. That's exactly the question I asked. And okay, so what were the challenges that came about when you were setting up the Marketing Society? I imagine there is obviously a culture of learning beyond higher education or beyond university level. So what kind of barriers did you encounter initially, and what have you done to overcome them?
Well, perhaps rather than talking about the barriers in history, because 55 years ago is a long time ago, that was a particular period when, if you like, modern marketing, modern packaged goods marketing was coming into being, and we've changed a lot since then. Certain fundamental principles are the same. What I'd say the barriers to any marketing society setting up now are really that everybody is incredibly busy. Everybody in business is receiving hundreds of emails every day. Masses of organizations, all sorts of advertising agencies and and marketing consultancies are setting up events all the time because they want to draw people in. And curiously, in a digital age, everybody wants to get face to face with people. That's what they want to do. So they're setting up events. So there's events, there's noise, there's all these things going on. So that's one issue. The next issue is that, of course, people work very long hours already. So you know, they want to go home. They want to have a bit of peace and quiet sometimes. More than 50% of the people working in marketing these days are women. Very often those women will have children, and understandably they want to go home and check their children's homework and look after them. And so do the men, of course, too, but maybe the women are even better at looking after the children. So all of these things are competing things, you know, to say, okay, if we're going to set up, you know, a marketing society, we are going to come out in the evening and, you know, learn some more about marketing and network and so on. We're competing against a lot of other things going on. But having said all that, yes, of course, we at the core of what we do, there's a very active events program, and we run over 60 events every year in the UK. Now, as I say, starting to run events in Hong Kong as well. And they are well attended, and people really enjoy them, and people learn a lot from them. So this week, on tomorrow evening, if you happen to be in London, you could still come and join us. We will be hearing from Mark Price, who's the managing director of Waitrose, one of the UK's most successful supermarket groups. It's one of the smaller ones. It's outside the big four, but it's the supermarket group that has been that's been growing fastest. It's very much in the premium area. It's part of the John Lewis partnership, but a terrific record of growth over the last few years. Mark's actually been in charge as managing director for 6 or 7 years now, done a terrific job there, and he comes from a marketing background. So we're very proud of Mark because he's, as I say, he was a marketing man himself. He was marketing director of Waitrose previously. He'll be talking tomorrow night about how Waitrose has grown and the kind of strategies he's used and the strategies they've got for the future, and how important it has been in Waitrose putting the customer at the heart of their business and really listening to them and responding and producing a very high quality service for those customers, which has been very, very successful. So that's a typical event happening you know, tomorrow night. But it's always competitive. It's always difficult to get people away from their this endless you know, emailing and social media we're all involved in these days.
Yeah, you know, this very common point comes up in a lot of these discussions with organizations that want to provide training or provide knowledge sharing. What's called this knowledge economy now. The perception is that if the organization is, for example, in your particular case, if they're gathering information on marketing and they purport to be, if not experts in marketing, but at least the knowledge holders of marketing, then no doubt when they are branding or they are promoting their own organization or creating the value proposition for people to participate in that organization, regardless of what the stakeholder group you're in, they would excel in that particular area, which you have. Which is how Marketing Society actually came to my attention. I was approached to write last year, but again, exactly your point about not having the time. It was way in the end when I felt the slowdown of work that I was able to make time. But that is absolutely true. And also, for example, I'm a member of the CMO Council for the EMEA region, and one area that really purports, which really bothers to a certain extent, out of the members in this part of the world. The surveys that they send out, which are pretty mandatory for all members to fill out in order for them to have some sort of thought leadership put out there, they're quite long and they're quite time-consuming, I'd put it that way. It's not just about the length. It's also, you're looking at the survey, you're thinking to yourself, look at all these options, and I've got to pick the option that's most relevant because you're part of the society, you've invested into it, you want to be able to put authentic information out there, and that just takes up, it says 15 minutes maximum, fill out takes about an hour most days. So yeah, that's definitely the time factor is definitely a challenge. So could you tell me about you know, it's a great idea, knowledge economy. Ephlux Insights is trying to move along the same lines, but we're more sticking towards customer experience as opposed to marketing. Could you talk more about your revenue or your sustainability model at the moment?
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's very open because we're a not-for-profit company owned by our members. So we're a very open organisation. Anybody can look at our accounts. And in fact, around 50% of, no, slightly less than 50% of our income comes from membership subscriptions, and then the balance comes from a combination. Some of what we can earn directly from events like our annual conference, and we charge people to come to that. But quite a lot of events we don't charge people to come to because they are in fact sponsored. So there's a mix there of so sponsorship is also quite an important part of our income. Which comes from classically companies that are very interested in talking to marketers and raising their profile amongst marketers. So, the classic, big media-owning companies have been generous sponsors in the past and generous partners. So, ITV here in the UK and Google and Microsoft and so on. And then some, new, more up-and-coming companies that want to get their name out amongst the marketing fraternity. But it's not. I would say that getting money from the marketing fraternity is never all that easy because there are many people selling to them. And at the moment, for example, in the UK, everybody says that. In general, first of all, the economy is growing. Secondly, all the forecasts are from our industry bodies that expenditure on marketing is going to grow in the next year. But I think everybody you talk to in our sort of business says, but people are really still holding on to their money, and companies are being very careful with it. And that's not surprising because, particularly ever since 2008, we've had a period of austerity and people, really, being careful with their money. And let's face it, that's good policy in any company. Making sure you really get value for what you're spending in any field. So I wouldn't say that getting money out of the marketing fraternity is easy. But hey, they obviously, we're still here. They obviously think we're good value. A lot of our money also these days comes from corporate memberships. Around about a third of our membership is actually from big companies who see the value of the marketing society. As a way for their staff to get very good value marketing training, to be up, as I said at the beginning, up to speed with what the very best marketing is. And if you think about it from a company's point of view, by making a very modest investment in membership of the society for their people, if those people are then prepared to come out in the evening in their own time and come to a marketing society meeting and learn more about what the very best marketing is today, well, that's it's good for the individual, but it's also very good for the company because they're getting their people to actually learn more about marketing in their own time.
Definitely. Just out of curiosity, do you have any custom programs? So if I'm an organization and I'd like training on a certain topic that I don't want, for example, if I attend an open seminar, then everyone's getting the information openly shared. But if you have a custom program aspect to it, where you have the information and you'd come in and you'd talk about industry-specific marketing tactics.
We don't go down as far as industry-specific topics, generally speaking, but we have some sort of specialist areas. We have a whole group that looks particularly at business-to-business marketing, for example. That's within our society. But we do also run some professional development programs. In particular, we run every year a thing called our Marketing Leaders program, which is specifically about becoming a better leader within marketing. And just a very small group, only just over 20 or so, 22, 23 marketers who've already got quite a lot of experience but are coming up to marketing director level, come and join us for that program every year. We run that in conjunction with a very top training consultancy called Brand Learning. and we've been running it for 10 years now, and that's really been very, very successful, and people really enjoy that because it's a combination of bringing in some of the very best marketers, from the UK and from global companies, and getting them to talk about what they do in their daily lives and how marketing works in their company, and talking and coaching those marketing people in leadership skills, in management skills, and that's a very good balance because, as I say all the time, our great belief is that marketing should lead the organization. So good marketing is about good leadership as well as good marketing.
Exactly, that's actually pretty brilliant. Aside, like your experience with the Marketing Leaders Program, how long has it been in? How long has it been in practice? When was it launched?
That's been going for 10 years now. So we're just about this in another month's time. We'll just be starting the next one for this year. So that runs over a period of a few months in the first half of the year with some very intensive workshops, and which it's residential too. I mean, people come and actually stay there. So it's a very
And
very good
and the
program.
companies that have participated, and the companies and the professionals that have participated, for the sake of simplicity, let's call them alumni. Alumni of the Marketing Leaders
Yeah.
Program. They go on to take. Is there another progression of a course that they take the next
Well,
year,
that's very
or
good.
the year
That's a very,
after?
very good question. Not so much directly, but yeah, many of them do become keen members of the Marketing Society subsequently. Yes, and we find they are very good supporters, and so yes, that's and then from time to time we get that group together again, and we run a refresher course or whatever. But that program is actually sponsored for us by Shell, who've been great supporters of it over many years. So we're very pleased with that too, and it always gets very, very good word of mouth from people who take part in it.
Yeah, definitely. This idea that an organization such as yours is handing out, if not certification, then it's some sort of professional accreditation that they they do understand the sort of knowledge that you gather for that particular year. But do tell me, how long is this particular program, so that
Uh,
the viewers have an idea of how much time
Oh, I
they would
see.
have
You
to
mean
take
well?
out.
So it's basically as I say, it's run the whole period of time is within a few months. So it starts in March and finishes towards the end of May. But in that period of time, there are three separate workshops of around about 7 days in total. So it's quite intensive in that period of time.
All right, all right. All right, so the next question is, thank you very much for that answer. The next question is, what is the Marketing Society's growth approach, and what is the long-term approach for the society?
Okay.
What's
Well,
next,
well,
and what's the next plan?
Well, our growth approach is that we are now very interested in expanding outside the UK. We know that there are many other marketing organisations all around the world, but many of those are concerned with lobbying, perhaps lobbying at a government level. Many of them are concerned with sort of big industry issues. Many of them are concerned with issues like qualifications and lower level training. We specialise very much in talking to senior marketers, as I say, marketing director level, about what is happening in marketing now, and we provide for them a really interesting network and a really interesting shortcut, if you like, quick insight into what is the best marketing right now. And we're finding that in a number of other territories, people are very interested in picking up this idea and running with it. And if there's anybody out there now who thinks that the idea of a marketing society in their region is an interesting thing to do, then I'd love to talk to them. We're actually going, in the first instance, we're setting up right now in Hong Kong, because it's a useful gateway for us into obviously a large Asia Pacific area. And it so happens there's a group of people there who are very keen to do it and have already set up a very active group. So clearly we'd like to move on from there to Singapore and Shanghai and so on. We'll see how that goes. But of course each group that sets up initially, it needs quite a lot of nurturing. It needs practical help from us. It needs local administrative help and so on. and it needs sort of some help and guidance as to how to get a good program going in that territory. But we're very much doing it on a basis that these days, of course, communication is so much easier, just like me talking to you now. So we do a lot of video conferencing and so on with people in Hong Kong, and to simplify the admin and make the business model easier. People in Hong Kong are becoming directly members of the society here in London, and we're going to keep it simple like that. So we haven't actually set up a subsidiary. We can actually do it directly here from the UK and keep costs down that way. But no, we're very excited about the possibilities of international growth, and one of the things that's helping us to spearhead that is also that we have a set of awards that we take around the world. We call them the Pioneering Spirit Awards, and it's a kind of best of the best, if you like, scheme where we take some of the most interesting marketing case histories from around the world, and on a regular basis, perhaps once a quarter, we're able to actually get together a group of senior marketers, give them a very, very quick case history on video of what each of those different ideas were, and then get them to vote on what they think is the best idea. It provokes a very, very interesting discussion. It brings them up to date with some of the most interesting ideas from all around the world, and it's a very good way of, as I said, bringing senior marketing people together and getting them to learn something. It's a good example of one of the things we do. But
that's brilliant. So, like these events that you have, just out of curiosity, I mean, I fully intend to attend at least 3 events this year. But just out of curiosity, like I'm not the sort of person who sits in one chair and probably pays attention for maybe half an hour straight.
I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure I even know where is your chair right this minute. Where are you at this moment?
I'm in my office.
Yeah, I know, but what city are you in?
Oh, right now I'm in Karachi.
Karachi, okay, fine, very good. Well, I'm not sure whether the Pioneering Spirit Awards are coming to Karachi anytime soon, but we'd love you to be part of one of our events. So you're very welcome to London anytime. And
yeah, definitely.
The Pioneering Spirit Awards we take, all to different cities all around the world, partly because we have a very generous sponsor, in the form of Cutty Sark whiskey. Very famous Scotch whiskey, which is traditionally very popular in the United States, and is now wanting to extend its appeal around the world. And Cutty Sark are very kindly sponsoring these Pioneering Spirit Awards. And so, as I say, we've been taking them to a number of major cities where we've just where have we just been? We're about to go to Dubai and then later Mumbai this year. But we've been in all sorts of other interesting cities of the world, and that's a way of sort of flying the flag also for the Marketing Society and the kind of thing we do.
That's brilliant. So I'll be seeing you guys in Dubai because Ephlux Insight started off in Hong Kong. We expanded into Pakistan, and we plan on going to Dubai. Okay. So we'll hopefully meet there, if not the UK then. So just
okay. Well,
sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I just think that we'd love to see you in Dubai. I mean, I'll if you let's email. I'll let you know the date that we're going to be there for our Pioneering Spirit Awards, and you'd be very welcome to join us for that.
Definitely. So something just occurred to me. I think
that way you yeah.
Sorry.
You become an advocate then.
Yeah, definitely. I'm already an advocate. As a writer, I got reached out to by a couple of people who said, "How is that you're the only non-UK person who's written this magazine?" And it just happened to be the case that I had spoken to one of the professors earlier, and he had linked me to the editor. So otherwise, I'd actually heard of the Marketing Society, I'd heard of WARC, but I didn't know there was a joint publication, which I'm always open to write for. I'm even scheduled to write for AdMap down the road.
Well, we look forward to more, Baba. And anybody else out there who wants to write for Market Leader, it's got to be good, of course, but got anything interesting to say, we'd love to publish it for you.
Yeah, definitely. I plan on even taking part in the AdMap competition with the digital brands, but I've already given my submission, so we'll just have to see how that goes. So my question, it just sort of came to me right now. The Marketing Leaders is related to Marketing Leaders program and the conferences that you hold. Is there any concept at the Marketing Society of doing consultation with people, if not as the Marketing Society or via the Marketing Leaders program alumni?
I think we'd always be happy to talk to people about how to set up a marketing group or whatever. And as I say, anybody out there wants to know more about that, do get in touch. But we don't really act as consultants in our own right, mainly because there are so many consultant members of our organization, so we don't want to compete with them too much. You know, within our membership, around 60% are marketing practitioners. We like to control this quite carefully, because obviously we're selective about membership, but around 40% are marketing services people, but all sorts of different consultancies and agencies and so on. So we don't want to compete
that's
with
brilliant.
Okay.
Definitely don't want to cannibalize your membership at any point in time. You know, not in the idea of working with them. So like if you've got academics, you've got professors. I've noticed that in the authors section of the latest WARC Market Leader, there were at least 3 authors who were from the academic side. So there's not even this idea of possibly. I'm just talking out loud, thinking out loud right now. There's not even this concept of possibly collaborating with them on their trainings or their consultations.
Yes, we you know, in the past we worked with various academic institutions. You know, for example, the London Business School. But I think at the moment we're slightly closer to the Cass Business School here in London. The professor of marketing there, Wayne Mitchell, is a keen member, and we're working with him on a number of things. So, for example, we're going to be doing a study this summer of, in a broad sense, what we've learned about marketing in the last 10 years through the Marketing Society Awards, where Cass Business School will be helping us do that. And obviously, from time to time, I speak, and other members of the society speak on those on courses of the Cass Business School and so on. But we don't have any very formal relationship other than that. But we're always delighted if academics write for our publication. Yeah.
All right. So just talking about you right now. So you speak at Cass Business School. I'm sure you speak other places as well. What is your favorite topic? Like, if I would put you on a stage and I would say, talk about anything you want to talk about, what is the topic you would bring up?
My favorite topic. I think it's the importance of marketing generally. The importance of being customer orientated. And this is a sort of fundamental truth of marketing that's always been there and never changes. So at the beginning of this interview, you were talking a lot about changes to digital communications and all the rest of it, and people wanting to switch to social media and out of traditional media. But in the end, it's all it's just another new form of media. It's a new way of getting hold of people's eyeballs and getting hold of their interest, and that hasn't really changed in 40 odd years I've been involved in marketing. No, what I'm really fundamentally interested in is getting companies to be customer orientated and really think ahead about what's right for their customers, and what customers are going to be looking for in the future. But also being very alive to the fundamental changes around them in ways of doing business, because obviously we see it here in the UK at the moment particularly in the retail sector. I mean, how fast that's changing. With our only a few years ago, big supermarkets were the answer, and huge areas of retail space were the answer. But now actually, the growth is all coming from either online or coming from the smaller convenience stores, and that the traditional model has completely changed. So all the time, in all our business activities, we need to keep close to the consumer and close to how business models are changing, and how close to what it is the consumer wants to do. That's really the underlying most interesting aspect of marketing.
That's basically what a lot of people, like for example Adler from Dartmouth Business School in the U.S. That's to bring up the idea that marketing should now be seen as a science. There's a lot more to it. Even the 4Ps, I keep bringing them up because I've been brand professional, and usually the perspective in Hong Kong or in Pakistan or in UAE is, okay, which of the 4Ps are you? Like, for example, if you're an economist, then you go either on Keynesian model or other models. Usually in these three countries, at least in my personal experience, people do ask, of the 4 Ps, which do you lean on more than the other? And obviously the answer varies with industry, but that's generally something that comes up. And what you brought up right now with business models and consideration of...
Well, I think of all the 4 Ps, and I started at Unilever a very long time ago in Bird's Eye Foods, when that was part of Unilever. So I started in the frozen food market when frozen food was relatively new and exciting and all the rest of it. I actually think the most important thing of all the Ps is the P for product. Actually, how good is your product? And by product I mean that in the very broadest sense of how good is your service? Because these days a lot of marketing is actually about the service. But you're not necessarily, you may be marketing an experience or whatever. Or a service rather than an actual physical product, but it's how good is that? How easy is it for people to access it, to enjoy it, and come back again, and so on and so on. So I think it's how good is your product in the end? That's very often the most important thing the marketers really need to make sure is absolutely right.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because a couple of years ago I used to be a digital marketer, and one of our clients was Unilever, and they were having problem with one of their ice cream brands, like exactly what you're bringing up right now. They had not what I wouldn't call it ice cream, I'd call it frozen foods. They had just launched this product that was a combination of frozen ice lolly, fruity flavored. I'm not going to name the brand, but basically every time they would run their promotional campaign, they would see sales. And as soon as they would stop, which is the most ideal situation, as soon as they would stop, the sales would stop too. So they saw that the sales were dependent on the promotion. So there must have been some problem with the product. So until there was recall, people were not really remembering the product enough to purchase it over and over again. So that is I completely agree with you on the product aspect. I usually do tell people, regardless of any organization I work for, I do ask them to prove to me, whether we're consulting with them or we're just talking to them in general, I do perfect them to prove to me whether the product is perfect or not, or at least close to perfect.
Well,
so that at least we can purport the promotion strategy in that particular direction. Because, for example, there's this article on Marketing Society's page recently, it was a blog actually, where the author, she spoke about this concept of relationship managers and banks, and why that title exists. And she was, the tone of the article was outraged, but the reason she had said that was because the product of the service that the bank was providing was not at par with the promotion activity that was going in place. Promotion said one thing, while the product was a whole other story. And as the end customer, she was feeling cheated. So exactly what you're saying. If your product's in place, then everything else falls into place pretty much. So yeah, thanks for that. So the last question and. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, sorry. You just froze there for a minute. What's your last question?
Yeah. So the last question is that I just wanted to ask you for other, like what you're doing, what you do with Marketing Society has been. I mean, there's obviously a number of umbrellas that people place it under, but one of the umbrellas that they use in Hong Kong, at least, is the knowledge economy. There's this concept called sharing economy. There's this concept called financial economy. This is called the knowledge economy, where people are gathering information from multiple sources and dispersing it for the public good. And obviously, you start a small fee, so it stays sustainable. So I just wanted to ask you, what is your advice to other participants, for example, myself? What is your advice to people like me on how we can participate with execution perfection
Yeah.
to a certain degree in the knowledge economy?
Well, well, yes, it's an interesting thought, isn't it? And it's lovely to be able to speak to you today like this, and it's lovely to share information across the world. And at the risk of stating the completely obvious, but because I started in business 40 years ago, long before the internet was thought of, the internet is a transformational event in the whole of human history. You know, when I'm long dead, you're long dead, it will still be seen as a transformational event. It's the most extraordinary thing that has accelerated ideas, thinking, knowledge, understanding, business, communication. Oh, it's fantastic, absolutely amazing. Anyway, here we are, you and I, talking through this wonderful medium. The difficulty very often, though, is how do you make money out of that? So, because actually the wonderful thing about the internet is so much is free, and so your conversation with me now, you're not paying me money, I'm not paying you money. People can join in on this, and they can get all of that for free. But in the end, somewhere, at the end of the day, you've got to go, be able to go out to the supermarket and buy some food, look after your family, whatever it is you have to do, and so do I. So somewhere along this line, you've actually also got to find a way of actually making money. And people do that in different ways, all sorts of different ways. I've described how we get money into the society, but the internet is wonderful, but actually also making money out of it, using that terribly, to use that terrible expression, monetizing it. I mean, that's often the great trick. But good luck to you anyway in that. And we're doing all right. Modestly.
Thank you very much.
We're not a very profitable organization, but we're managing to survive and keep our income moving up slowly but steadily.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Hugh. I appreciate the time that you've given me today.
Yeah.
And I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. I'm sure the entire landscape is going to change in about 3 months. And we'll come back and we'll be like, that thought we had in January, it wasn't exactly accurate entirely.
All right.
So thank you very much, Hugh. And we'll...
Yeah, great. Okay, I look forward to speaking again, and maybe you'll get to join us in Dubai. I hope so. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'll look at the date. I'll look at the dates, and I'll register right now.
Okay,
thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye for now. Bye. Bye.